we are going to focus on the NFC West. So who's the odd man out?
I think it's Arizona. I think Arizona is going to be probably last in that division. I say that because you look at the Rams and what they've been able to do. They go out and they get a quarterback, a guy that they finally feel can get them back to where they were when they lost the Super Bowl. Then you can't go against Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. You just can't bet against those guys. They're always going to be competitive. And then the 49ers, with Shanahan at the helm, running the offense and the new quarterback, and there's a lot of things that are going to be exciting. I do love Kyler Murray, but the one thing that I think could possibly get them in trouble in Arizona is just the physical toll that he takes and the damage that he takes. Last year, Week 8 against Miami, he rushed for 108 yards. And then the next week they play Buffalo. Guess what? He tweaks his hamstring, and then from that point on, he really couldn't run the football. I think the next best rushing statistic was about 6 weeks later. He rushed for 75 yards, and then other than that, it was like 15 yards, 3 yards, another 15 yard, and they're going to have him out of the pocket moving. So again, I think that the Rams are the clear-cut team in that division, and it's going to be an exciting year. I can't wait to watch that division.
I thought the Rams were the clear-cut team. And let me say it like this. The NFC West, I think any one of these teams, Rob, can win the Super Bowl. I think any one of these teams are capable of doing that, includes Arizona, notwithstanding what you said. Like, how much does J.J. Watt have left? How much does A.J. Green have left? What kind of tandem will he make with DeAndre Hopkins? Possibly an elite one. We'll see. There's a lot, and what kind of leap does Kyler Murray take? If you want to ask me who's the odd team out, I'm actually going to go with San Francisco, and I'll tell you why. It's not the way I look at the team. I think it's the way they're looking at themselves internally. When you spend that much draft capital to move up in the draft, to draft a quarterback, when you could maybe run back what you did a couple years again and get to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, why not? Maybe this time you design a play and he hits the guy, right? He hits Emmanuel Sanders. He hits whoever they design the play for, and you win the Super Bowl. The 50-50 kind of throw, maybe next time he makes it. I think they think that's a possibility in San Francisco. Hey, let's wait and see. We'll start with Jimmy G. We'll see where this goes. But do you draft the rookie quarterback who has a chance to start sometime in his rookie season if you think you're going to win the Super Bowl? No rookie quarterback's even ever gotten there, right? Not that it'll never happen, but I don't think that's your plan. So my sense is that in San Francisco, they think they're a little farther away than we do outside San Francisco. And for that reason, in a division where you could pick any one of these teams to finish first or last, Seattle's defense should be better. Cam Akers goes down. Normally you'd say, well, a running back shouldn't move the odds that much. But in an offense where you saw what he did with Goff and Gurley, what could he have done with Stafford and Akers? Now, that's not going to be there the same way. I think in a division like this, anyone could finish first or last. You make me choose who's going to be the odd team out. I'm actually going to take the Niners.
I think that could possibly happen. I really do. I mean, you look at the way that they went out this offseason. When there's a quarterback controversy, it could always kind of mess up the mojo of the offense. But I do believe in the 49ers defense. I think that they could be a really special unit. And you look at the division. I think if you look at that division, defense, honestly, you talk about the quarterbacks, but it's really going to come down to what defense is going to come out on top. The Rams, I mean, you think about the fronts and the pass rush that we're looking at in that division. You got the Rams, you got Aaron Donald, you got Bosa with the 49ers. The Seattle, they're going to have a better season this year. But then you look at Arizona, they got Chandler Jones. Hopefully, they figure things out and he gets back in the mix. J.J. Watt, how are they going to come and help that team out? So really, we're talking about the offense. We're talking about the quarterbacks. We're talking about the receiver. We're talking all offense. But really, the defense, I think, is going to really set apart the teams that are first or the team that ends last in that division.
Mm-hmm. The other thing about Kyler Murray, and I hear what you're saying, the injuries and it could rack up and everything, he made improvements from year one to year two. He had a very good rookie year, made improvements to year two. A lot of times guys go from, that's that big jump, but then they turn great, right? Like, when does a young player get great? Yeah, sometimes that's year three. They have, especially if they've been starting for 2 straight years. If Kyler Murray takes that jump, look out for Arizona. And I feel like he's poised to do it.
Playoffs, Max?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you, I don't know how to rank these teams. Mm-hmm. If you make me, I'll take San Francisco last, but this is the most competitive division in football, in my opinion.
Rob, do you think Arizona will go to the playoffs?
I think they'll just miss it this year. I think they need another year. I mean, you're right, Max, about that third year. I mean, look, he could just go skyrocket up, and he could double the touchdown production, and he could really produce this season. But there are a lot of question marks as far as durability, but then also defensively, can they keep up? I think Arizona, like you said, this division of all divisions in football right now, it's a toss-up between which team is going to beat the other teams twice, which teams are going to win the division. The other teams that they have to play throughout the season could affect the standings. So last year being 8-8, it's hard for me to think that they're going to drastically be a 13-win football team. So I think they just miss it. But we'll see how that third year comes with Kyler. Some third-year players, they plateau at 2, and then they kind of they don't take off. So it's all going to depend, first of all, on health and his durability, because we did see last year when he had a little injury, it affected him a lot in his ability to move and get out of the pocket. Every highlight I see of Kyler Murray, it's literally he's lightning quick on the edge. He's beating people to the edge for a touchdown. He stops your feet. He gets to the edge. Once he had that hamstring and he couldn't run like that, that was pretty much it. Teams are like, all right, let's bottle him up, keep him in the pocket, let him throw from the tight pocket where he can't look over the big offensive linemen that are huge in front of him. So we're going to see, and he's going to go against a defensive front like the Rams. They're going to get after him. So it should be interesting to see how he does do on this third season.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.